Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today I'm going to go through the process on how I actually fixed the problem on this car in 10 minutes, and all I did was spend about maybe 2 cents worth of spray, and that is air intake system cleaner, but you should really use another cleaner, and we'll get to that. And of course, I had to use a scan tool, but you know there's a lot of people out there don't have a scan tool. This is like a $30 little cheap scan tool because I had to figure out what was the code that came up on the dash. And it was a P0171, and that is a lean code. For a lot of people, they have no idea what lean codes mean, and that's fine. And I used a screwdriver, and I have a just a little socket here in the end of my ratchet, and that's about it. And I fixed this in 10 minutes. So whether you know anything about vehicles or not, if you're looking at this video, you probably got one of these vehicles. This is a 2015 Chevy Cruze with a 1.8 liter engine, and this pretty much applies to a lot of vehicles out there. So we'll just take a look at this vehicle here in a second, but first of all, this was the concerns of the person that owns this car. This woman has been telling me for maybe 8 months to a year that every once in a while, you know, she'd get a little bit of a stopping at a light, and the engine would just kind of not run that great. And it would run great for months, and then every once in a while just not run that great. So she called me up and said, well, can you take a look at it? And I said, well, how's it running now? Well, it's running great. Well, what am I going to look at, right? So I said, let me know when if you get a check engine light on the dash, which is the, you know, the amber light that comes on your dash there, says to check your engine. So about a week ago, well, I get another phone call, and it's well, it's coming to a light. The engine starts shaking. My brake pedal went down to the ground. Like I could hardly hold the car back, you know, just, you know, in park, stopped at a light, you know, like the brake pedal went down and the engine stalled. So I says, okay, you got a light on the dash? Yep. Okay, so first concern was, should I drive the vehicle? And I said, well, is the light flashing? And she goes, no. I said, okay, sure. I said, well, when you got time, bring it around, you know, the next couple of days or a week or whatever. And the vehicle did stall again within that week. She brought it over to me. I took a look at it, and that's when I scanned it, and it was a P0171 lean code. And I'm going to go over how I, you know, fix this vehicle. And, you know, this is more or less geared to people who, you know, have a similar problem like this, but they really don't know where to turn to, because most YouTube videos are throwing out all kinds of technical terms, and people just don't know what to do and how to save some money and fix the car themselves, right? So I'm going to go over some easy things, and these are the things that I've learned myself from YouTube, and I'm going to go over these things, and I'm just going to show you how this may pertain to you. But actually, I fixed the check engine light, but I didn't fix the you know, the rough, you know, just a little bit of a stumble and rough every once in a while at a light, you know, being stopped. And I'm going to take a look at that too, but I'm pretty sure I know what that is. So let's go over to the engine, and I'm going to show you some common things that you could check yourself. And you know, you don't need a scan tool, you don't need nothing, right? And these things are simple for everyone to do, and if it fixes your vehicle, fantastic. But you know what? There's a lot to vehicles and fixing them. There's a, you know, like I always say, it's 90% of the knowledge up here that fixes a vehicle, and 10% is the tools you're using. So let's go over to the car, and I'll show you some stuff that you can do yourself. And very simple things that you can do yourself. And if it fixes your resolve, well then fine. Because a lot of times this will fix your problems. So here we are here, we're on the engine bay here. And this is just the cover that goes on here. It's very easy, you just slide this back. And right here, now this is where the PCV valve is. On some vehicles and models, it'll be over here. But anyways, if many times on an intermittent problem, well, you could have a leaky PCV valve. So you start the vehicle up and you just put your finger over top of here. And actually, if it's leaking, you will hear a hissing coming through here anyways. That's one spot there. That's what I checked first. And then I came over to here, and if you take a look at this gizmo right here, well, this is your evap purge valve. So you just disconnect the electrical connector. You see that red tab? Just put a little screwdriver or whatever underneath. Pull this tab up, pull this back. Now, do it when the engine's not on, of course. And then start the engine up. And on this side here, this here is an electrical solenoid in here. So when it's commanded on, it will open up between this side and this side. This is the engine vacuum side. This side here goes to your charcoal canister to reburn exhaust fumes in the engine. So when you disconnect this, it disables this valve inside here, this solenoid. So you pull this line off here and you start the engine up and you put your finger on the end, and if it's sucking any air, well, that means that this valve is no good. And you know, that will be an intermittent thing as well. It's not so easy to find. Now we're going to get over to how I fixed the vehicle. So both of them things were fine. I went over to here and I'm going to show you exactly what I did. All I did was took the screw out. There's one on the bottom, one on the top. Took this out like this. I flipped it over. You see that right there? Yeah, it's like a little pellet in there on the bottom. I just sprayed that for about 3 seconds. Turned it over, stuck it back in, put the 2 screws in, one on the top, one on the bottom, left it there for about 20 minutes to dry off, started the car up, check engine light went out. And that resolved the problem right there. So, a week later goes by, and this woman says to me, you know, the car runs great, the check engine light didn't come back on, everything is fine, but I still do get a little bit of stumbling that goes on when I'm at a light and the vehicle just it just doesn't idle right. But you know, it's not like before. It doesn't stall and the brake pedal doesn't go to the floor, or you know, that kind of thing. Do you know any idea what that could be? And I'm going, well, you know what? I think you had 2 problems. One was the dirty mass air flow sensor, and you clean that with mass air flow sensor fluid. Now, I didn't, but you know, you really should, because if you're, you know, I don't want anybody complaining that you used the wrong fluid and they're driving a McLaren or a Bentley or a Ferrari, and you know, they just wrecked a $2,000 mass airflow sensor. So use the fluid, mass airflow sensor cleaner. Only takes 2 seconds. You just spray it down a little bit, and that's it. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the second fault. I'm going to take this off right here, and I'm going to show you, we're going down to the throttle body, and we'll do that next. So here I just took the snorkel off. Very easy. You just undo these 2 bands, one here, and now we go for the prize. And here's the throttle body right here. Now you see all that dark residue all the way around the outside there? Well, over time, when it gets too much residue on there, what'll happen is you don't get the minimum amount of air going through at an idle. Now that is in the completely closed position, and if it gets too gummed up all the way around, well, what happens is you don't get the right amount of air going through there. So you can just clean that all the way around there. So I'm going to show you what I use to clean it with, and I will clean it, and I'll bring it back, and I'll show you what it looks like after. But let's take a look and see what I'm going to use to clean that with. Okay, so I'm just using the air intake cleaner. Now, they do have throttle body cleaner. Like I say, you can use the throttle body cleaner if you got a McLaren, Bugatti, or a Ferrari. And this is just like a plastic stick, and I put a shop towel on the end there, and I am going to spray that and then wipe all the way around. I'm not taking the throttle body off. I'm just going to wipe all the way around on the inside there. Now, the thing you have to remember is that throttle body is electrically operated. So I have a tool that holds the gas pedal down while it opens it up. And you know, I'm using this tool. I'm not sticking my fingers in there, because if that plate were to come down, you know, on you, well, it's dangerous, right? So you can jam something up against the gas pedal while it'll open up. Now I'm going to turn the ignition on first. Not going to start the car, and I'll clean that all out, and then I'll bring you back. So let's do that next. So I got the gas pedal fully depressed, and you could see without the engine actually being on, it will not open all the way when the engine is off. But that's enough for me to get in there and clean. Just on the bottom there you could see, and on the top side. But really, to do it really well, you take the throttle body off and you clean it really good off the vehicle. But this here is just to verify whether this problem of every once in a while a little bit of a rough idle at a stop, in park or in neutral or in drive. Because I did ask her, I said, what happens if you put it into neutral? So she tried put it in neutral, and of course it would run a lot better in neutral than it would in drive. So, or in park. Park was fine, neutral was fine. In gear, yeah, I'm suspecting that that's dirty there and on the other side. So I'll clean it and then I'll bring you back. Well, there's 5 minutes and there's the results right there. I mean, this one here was used mostly on the bottom part. You don't want to put anything in there that's going to scratch anything or anything. So, and this one here I did on the top, and that's what I got off the top. So let's go over to the vehicle now and take a look. Now, that's it right there. And that's a lot better than before. And we're going to give it back. And she's going to let me know if the idle is a lot better now. And that's all we can do. And that was very simple to do. If you're wondering, well, what we're using to hold the gas pedal down, you know, you can just use a snow brush and then move your seat to go forward just to keep the gas pedal depressed. But I made this many years ago, and it's out of a cheap caulking gun, and I just threw it together so I could use it for holding down a brake pedal or holding down the accelerator pedal. Okay, so when you're thinking about fixing your vehicle, the vast majority of YouTube videos out there are going to be referring to a lot of different terms that maybe you don't understand. But just for the beginner, yeah, all you really need, all I used was this little $30 scan tool to figure everything out myself. And, you know, you don't need a smoke machine, you know, and all that kind of stuff. What I like to do is pick the low-hanging fruit, go for the easy stuff first, and if it works, it works. And you can see all the different procedures I went through here. And, you know, the P0171, the lean condition, well, it's been resolved. And what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of a note in the description box down below. And because this video will be uploaded like more than a week ahead of time. So, yeah, if this doesn't resolve a little bit of a stumble, a little bit of a rock, that's about all it was, right? For the throttle body, the cleaning of the throttle body, well then I'll let you know down below. But if you don't see anything, well then, you know, you'll find out. But really, when it comes to fixing automobiles, it's all knowledge based. And I'm going to put a link down below to a good friend of mine who is one of many that are just top-notch technicians. And this particular fella is an instructor at one of the most you know, renowned colleges in America, and he teaches automotive diagnostics. And I'm going to put a link down below to my friend Paul. I mean, I could put lots of links. There's so many people on YouTube that are really, really, really good, but I got to pick somebody, right? And I believe Paul's got just about the best library for like the beginner. From the beginner right up to like the master technicians. That's what this guy specializes in. And I'll put a link down to Paul's YouTube channel. And if you're interested in learning about everything, how to fix the car yourself with diagnostics, well, Paul is a good guy, you know, to actually learn from. He's been on YouTube a long, long, long time. Greatest guy you're ever going to want to meet. And he'll go through all the different processes to teach you how to do all the things that I've learned myself from his channel and so many others as well. And you know, the whole idea about fixing the vehicle yourself is not always like what I showed here today, was just a rough oversight of possible causes. There is no real silver bullets, but you know, for if you're just starting off, get yourself one of these, you know, get yourself familiar with one of these little low-cost scan tools. And you know, they all give you live data, freeze frame data, you know, and if you go to Paul's videos, he'll explain to you exactly what all the different terms are, you know, in automotive world on explaining exactly what a certain code means and what sometimes it doesn't mean. Because if you watch Paul's videos, and he'll mention the word variables a lot, and that's what it comes down to, is a lot of variables. And to fix vehicles can be very, very difficult. But with the right training and the right understanding of the different circuit designs, well, you can do the exact same thing that he does as a professional technician. So, you know, I encourage everyone to check out the link in the description box and go over and take a look at his channel. Now, the majority of the people that are watching this video, a lot of people know, you know, Paul Danner, but there's a lot of people that don't. And for the new people, for the do-it-yourselfers, the people who find that this kind of thing might be helpful to them, well, I guarantee you, looking at Paul's channel will be very helpful for you as well. And it's all free, right? So thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. And, you know, I didn't go into a lot of theory and a lot of technical things. I just wanted to present a video where somebody who has a similar problem, and even if it's not you know, the exact same similar vehicle, that they could get some tips on how to look for some stuff for themselves. And you know, just cleaning the mass airflow sensor, man, the whole thing, like the whole process took me 10 minutes. And you know, she was happy, right? So you know, if you're thinking about, you know, tackling some of these projects yourself, well, you need a good resource base. And I think Paul is about, you know, he's right up on par with all the other great technicians on YouTube. And take a look at his channel, and I guarantee you that you'll be quite impressed on how you can learn to fix your vehicle yourself too. Take care.